Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Tuesday, January 28th. We're going to take a look at WIMI today. So we've been tracking WIMI since it had this explosive move up here where it topped out at 292. And it's pulled down. It's filled this gap very much and then some. And folks wanted me to come take a look at the chart again. That's what I'm going to do here. Now, I will say, somebody had left a comment and said that they had used, I think the sense was they had used this run up to raise some money or something like that, and that they felt that their fair market value at this point was something around $6. If somebody has more information or a link or something to explain that to folks, please leave it in the comments. I think it's probably a valuable consideration for this stock, especially given the price action as of late. So if there's something to that, I think folks would be really interested to know. I couldn't readily find the details on that, and I thought, let me just do the chart and have whoever has that info chime in with it. So basically where we are now, let me zoom out just to sort of show you. See this red downtrend resistance that we had put on the chart? We're back down to it. I think when we got like up here, I was like, I'm gonna leave, I think I said this in the video, I'm gonna leave this wedge in here still, this downtrend resistance and this green uptrend support. I don't think we'll get back down to it because it's so far away at this point. But I'm going to leave it there just in case. And where do we find ourselves now? We are smack into that wedge again. And so just to sort of mention why I had put this on the chart in the first place was the consideration was, if it continues to compress price action within here, we may see an explosive move coming out of this wedge, typical downtrend support, uptrend resistance type wedge. And I don't know which direction the explosive move would go, but I was interested in seeing it compress within this range more. It doesn't have to take it to the very tippy top point there, but see it compress more and then hopefully get some more sort of juice out of the squeeze just from a chart perspective, not from a like outside catalyst or company catalyst perspective. But we are back into that range again. So interesting that that's where we find ourselves now. We have a lot of levels on the chart because, again, we're taking it through this huge range, right? And we have days where it's moving 30% up, 30% down. And so we have a lot of levels, but they are many times a pretty decent percentage away from each other. At this point, the stock moves less than a penny, and it's almost a full percent gain for the day, right? You see in the after hours here, it's down 2 cents, and that's minus 2%, right? Because it's right around $1. So, so a couple pennies, or like 10 cents here, is a big deal percentage-wise. Now, levels, as I have it, nearest in support level 86.5, 87 cents. I hate these fractions of pennies. 87 cents. Nearest in resistance level that I have, 103. What we might be seeing here, depending on what the price action looks like tomorrow, is a wrestling with this 103 level. Because I say that because it had spent going back here, it had wrestled with it a bunch this day, basically did the same this day, right? Popped through it at open and then returned to it by open the next day, and then spent the day underneath it, back above it, big run, big pullback, and now it's sort of magnetizing itself back to that level. So to me, that 103 is really where the battle's at. I know it feels like it's retreated a bit from it now, and it has, but I would tend to think that we would see some sort of further confirmation one way or the other on the 103 before we really see a move down to that 87 level. I could be wrong. It could, something could happen. We could get crazy news and, the bottom could fall out and it could fall right to 87 or through 87, of course. But just from the look of it, to me, I would expect another resolution on that 103 before it decides whether it's going to retreat further back toward that 87 or if it's going to be able to punch through and make a run to that 113. Now, if it does that, we do have plenty of levels, 127, 139, and 165 to the upside. You can see how it's been moving off of those as of late as well. These levels have just held up really well the whole way. You zoom in, you can see it clear as day, right? We have floors, we have ceilings, we have, catching in between on those big moves. So pretty pleased with how these levels have worked, how they have proven out through all of the chaos as of late. Now, EMAs wise, here's the interesting point. It's sort of threatening to have a fully bullish short-term EMA crossover, right? The 8 is already in a bearish crossover. The 21 is like just a smidge away from crossing over the 34, so that would put all 3 short-term EMAs in a fully bearish formation, but it's holding here really well at the 183 EMA, and that's where these big moves have come off of, right? Consolidation right around the 183, and then bang. They pale in comparison to the recent move, but even these big moves, right? These all happened as you got that push off of or through the 183 EMA. That's right where it is at the moment. So pretty interesting to see if that will be able to overcome, again, just from a chart perspective, overcome the downward pressure that is currently existing from the bearish crossovers of the short-term EMAs. So I'm pretty interested in that. We'll see how that sort of pans out and what that looks like. It is caught in sort of a series of shelves here, right? There's a ton of shelves, basically up to like 140 and then down to like 89 or so, and then things get pretty thin, comparatively speaking, right? But there's a ton of action in here, so it has a bit on both ends, right? It could be very well supported by folks looking to buy this at or just under $1, and then it could be further challenged as it moves up through the dollar level by folks who it starts to hit their sell levels with all the volume up here. So we'll see. But if it can get through to like into the 140s, maybe then it has a bit of a run room before it hits a wall around like 165, 170. That could be quite interesting. And obviously it would be a huge percentage gain if it were to be able to move like that. If we look at the order flow, Webull did an update, and it's really, there's a couple of things that might not be obvious to you, but they are throwing me off. I'm hoping that they're bugs that'll get debugged and this will work a little bit smoother. But in any case, large large scale orders coming out yesterday for sure, pretty harshly, and the day before that also. Today coming out not to the same degree, but still relatively strongly. We did see as recently as the 22nd, so 6 days ago, buy orders at large scale coming in quite strongly, but then it really died off, and then it just flipped, right? Just like flipped the script immediately, and then it was just sell. This is crazy. Total profited shares proportion as of close today per Webull is a measly 0.72%. So we'll see. To me, the question here becomes, there's almost everyone underwater on WIMI at the moment. Does that mean that folks are going to want to step in droves, dollar cost average down, and hope that we get another swing to the upside? Or at what point do folks start to just cut losses and then introduce additional selling pressure? Or aside from all of these folks that are already in, what's the impetus for new investors to come in and start buying up the stock at around $1, and maybe driving it back up through some of these these periodic walls that we see. We see, just huge volume up here, like well over $2. These people are down immensely at the moment. These folks would have bought in a bit over 2, and it's at about 1 at the moment, so they're cut in half or more. And pretty bleak there, but I do always wonder on these. I know that this isn't always how it plays out for sure, but I do always wonder, Are we going to get a big rush of folks who, on even just the slightest catalyst, or even just sort of like something happening in the social sphere, are we going to see a big rush of folks who are like, you know what, I'm going to double down on this and I'm going to get my average down to blah by buying a bunch more WIMI? Maybe. And we've certainly seen folks do that in the past, varying degrees of success for sure, but we'll see if it plays a factor this time. Let me just pop these back on. On the Thinkorswim side of things, nothing tremendously interesting. It's been so crazy. The channel is this wide. This is still within like the mid range of the channel, right? The bright blue line there in the middle. You see just yesterday's candle sliced right through it. And so we're not even anywhere close to the upper or lower bound of the channel. So as it stands, if we get into February, which isn't that far away, the call trigger is situated around 118 with a +1 ATR up to 177. If it can play that out in February. Other end of that spectrum, put trigger at about 82 cents all the way down to about 23 cents on the -1 ATR. So maybe something just sort of like have in the back of your head, some ranges that we may see if things get really punchy one way or the other as February unfolds. All right, folks. Well, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.